Greg Powers, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and I'm joined out here by DCTF four-star Mario Buford at DeSoto High School. State champion, you know. Everybody asks a question like, oh, what's it like to be a state championship? I don't want to know that. I want to know what it was like after the state championship game. What was it like coming back to DeSoto, having that honor? I mean, what was it like being in this city?
Man, when we came back from the state game after winning, it was just like everybody was in love with us. Like, the whole city was definitely turned up. Like, I was able to go anywhere, Whataburger, Waffle House, get some free food, all that. Had my medal on, hat cocked to the side. Felt great. Yes, sir.
DeSoto's like a school rich in history. Defensive backfield, like there's been a lot of guys from the secondary who went on to have success. Even in this class, Jaden Milner-Jones, who's going to play for Deion Sanders at Colorado, he's one of my favorite players to watch. He was a warrior. What sets you apart? What makes you special? Why have over 25 schools, extended you a scholarship?
I feel like I'm definitely like a very technically sound player. Like, I feel like I'm able to be in places in the field, I'm able to cover a lot of ground real fast. I'm kind of long, I'm lanky. I feel like I'm able to cover, pretty much any receiver that comes at me because I feel like I've guarded the best receivers. So, for a receiver to really have something for me, it's going to have to be, you're going to have to show me something, new or something, super nice for it to even, yeah.
Talk about competition, right? I got to talk about competition a little bit. You had Jonte Cook on your own team that you had to go against in practice, but this district that you play in every week, it's loaded with receivers. Does that make you better?
Oh, definitely. Especially guarding receivers like Jonte every day. And, even my freshman year, I was guarding Jerran Bradley, who's at Texas Tech now, and Jaden. Yeah, Jaden Wilson, who's at Arkansas now. So, since I've got, and Stephon, who just had a big season at Oklahoma State.
Yes, sir.
So, since I've gone to DeSoto, I just been straight to getting the guarding the top guys. And, especially dudes like Jonte, it's rare, super rare around the entire country where I'm going to ever see a receiver like that. And in my district, this year I'm going to have to go against Duncanville. They got the number one receiver in 25 and Corey. And it's definitely a matchup that I'm looking forward to, for this next season. And I'm preparing for it now in the offseason.
A lot of eyes will be on that game for sure. And, now it's your turn. Now you get to teach Dalen Singleton the ropes, right? Now you're the cornerback that he's going to be matched up with to learn those things. We talked about how many offers, a lot of offers coming at you. We can't sit here and talk about or break down all of those things, and you haven't released a top schools list. So I always watch what they say, what they do. I kind of pick some schools out that I want to ask you about specifically, and I'm going to do it in a little bit of a reverse order than maybe what you might expect because I'm going to start in the Big Ten. Not a lot of people in Texas talk about Big Ten country. You got two schools on the list there that I think could be a factor for you in Michigan State and Penn State. What keeps those programs in the mix?
Penn State was just they're actually my latest offer, but since I've gotten the offer, I've gotten to speak with a lot of the coaching staff, and the first thing I think of when I think of Penn State is that viral video of when the game was first starting and it was the whiteout and they was just all screaming and you couldn't hear anything. QB trying to snap the ball, they had to call a timeout. So that was just
probably against Ohio State.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking wow, the atmosphere and the fans, they really love Penn State. So I'm definitely gonna get up to Penn State sometime during the spring, as well as Michigan State. I'm planning to get up to their spring game. Michigan State, I mess with Coach Duhart a lot. I mess with their entire coaching staff, really. They're all really cool. They definitely want to win. And they definitely, they always going against some top teams. So, every year they're going to have to go against teams like Michigan, Ohio State, and stuff like that. Yes, sir.
And now I'm going to go a little bit to the Pac-12 because I want to ask you about Oregon. Oregon seems to be one of these schools that has so much momentum in Texas high school football right now, and a lot of guys across the country want to play for that school. What is so attractive about Oregon?
Man, Oregon for me, especially being a defensive player, Coach Dan Lannon, he literally just won Natty at Georgia as their defensive coordinator, and now he's the head coach at Oregon. So, being the defensive guy, I want to go where defense seems like it's going to be, the best for me to fit. And, Coach Martin, Coach Palich, those are all my guys. And I feel like definitely at Oregon, I've built a relationship and, I'll be able make an impact.
I'm going to guess Coach Pallage got a relationship with you when he was at Baylor. That was probably one of your very first offers, I'd guess.
sir.
And then now he's moved on to Oregon as well. Nebraska. I mean, honestly, not a lot of guys list Nebraska as a school like in their favorites as a Texas player. But things have changed, I think, because, one, they hired Matt Rule, who had success at Baylor. And really the ties in Texas are now strong. You got, Garrett McGuire is the wide receivers coach, Arlington Martin coach, Bob Wager's up there. So, I mean, they're serious about Texas now.
With Nebraska, since my freshman year, Nebraska has always been recruiting me basically the hardest out of any other school.
Wow.
Mainly because my brother is their starting safety right now.
Well, there you go. There's a tie for you Cornhuskers fans. Go ahead and give your brother a shout-out before you dive into it.
Marquise Buford Jr., number 1, the starting safety on defense. So, Nebraska, I've gotten to talk to a lot of different coaching staffs at Nebraska, obviously. But, the Matt Rule, Evan Cooper, the new coaching staff they have right now is definitely top. They're definitely my favorite out of the 3. No shade, but they're definitely my favorite out of the 3. Coach Rule, he seemed like he definitely trying to get Nebraska back to where it was, And the fans in Nebraska, wow, the fans are amazing. I remember I'm down there my freshman year, and people already knowing who I am from Nebraska, and I'm like, wow, this is new to me. I wasn't expecting this and everything like that. Yes, sir.
I can definitely vouch for that because whenever I went and watched Nebraska, it was like Ndamukong Suh was playing there, and they were playing OU. Sam Bradford was the quarterback, and even though Nebraska had lost that game, they cheered OU off the field. So the fan base there, the culture there is just something different, something special. And we're going to have to come to this guy for the inside track when it comes to Nebraska since his brother's there. And then, Washington, what keeps that team in purple in your mix?
Because Washington is definitely a great school, for DBs to get developed and make it to the next level, which is where I want to be. The coaches at Washington have been great with producing great cornerbacks and putting them into the league. Just a few years ago, not even maybe last year, they put 2-3 DBs into the league in the high first to second round. So definitely a great school for defensive backs.
As Mario Buford, you got 7 minutes of action, hard-hitting action with him in this interview. Thanks for the time, man. Good luck as you guys try to go back-to-back next year. And, of course, as you navigate through what is going to be a very fun recruiting process with all these offers coming at you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.